Real news. True, honest, and not fake news.
Vincent, I heard there was a bombing over the weekend.
Oh, yes, I did too.
yeah.
I heard that for a few hours. Oh, we don't know. Could have been a
Amish.
bigoted straight white male. Could have been the Amish. Those radical, those extreme religious Christians that just decided to go out and bomb the London subway. Do they have Amish in London? Like, I don't even know. Is that a thing?
They do now.
They do?
Yeah, because they bombed that too. They just one of them came over from America.
They immigrated. They probably came over for refugee status.
They took their horse and buggy and made it into like a Fulton's Folly, kind of like a steamboat, back in the day, and just started.
Yeah, they just had the horses swim across, and they were just sitting in the wagon.
Yeah, or that too.
That probably. Yeah, no, that would work. I feel like horses are good swimmers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then there was
suicide horse
some
bombers.
Radical. Yeah, it was some radical, or at least the going notion, I think, in the press was it was a radical Christian terrorist that decided to just let off a bomb and scream Allahu Akbar.
Oh, they do that all the time.
Oh, no, sorry. Probably just screamed God is great.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Yeah, exactly. A little early.
Yeah, too soon. Hashtag too
Happy
soon.
Boxing Day.
We are protesting Boxing Day by blowing ourselves up in the tube.
Yeah,
anyway,
no, if you're not aware, ISIS claimed responsibility.
Imagine my shock.
Wow, you need like a drop of that to play somehow.
Yo, yeah.
Imagine my shock.
I was thinking of actually putting like a Thug Life thing on there, like when you say something real savage, like out of nowhere, just boom, 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 boom. Like some rap music starts going. It's like Thug Life. Yeah. Anyway, 29 people were hurt. I think they said they caught the guy. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they were going after like other people earlier. I think you were talking about that before. But the biggest news, though, is that Trump supposedly, this is so confusing. The night this happened, the statement given by Pelosi and Schumer said Trump had, signed off to keep the Dreamers, possibly a Dream Act, and no wall. So people on Trump's base were freaking. I sat there, I was like, I don't know about this. But then minutes later...
I mean, look, see, this is the thing. We're listening to people. We're listening to, the Democrat higher-ups, the Chucky Schumers, and the Crying Chuck, rather.
Crying Ryan.
Yeah, crying and all the usual suspects reporting to the lamestream media, the lying press, as it were, and the fake news media is reporting on things that liars have told them about the confidence, like a confidential meeting in which there were no recordings or transcripts.
Yep.
So
and
why should we believe them?
Yeah.
I mean, like all that really does is, think about it from your perspective. You go into a meeting. It's publicly known that you're going to a meeting with Trump. Mm-hmm. What possible motive do you have not to lie? If you can collude with people and you've got a media that's not going to second guess you,
yeah, they're going to run with it.
Check the facts on it. They're not going to call the Trump administration and go is this correct? Is this what you guys agreed upon? Like can you imagine CNN going? It's like, oh, Chuck Schumer said this, but let's double check. No, they're going to take it right from the lying. Horse-faced mouths, and they're going to say, they're going to say as if it's true, because why would they do this? Because it's in their advantage. Because what happens?
It divides Trump's base.
Yeah. Well, it divides Trump's base. Yeah. I mean, it gets people mad at Trump.
Yeah.
And it causes discord and enmity within the right wing.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if it comes out as not being true. A certain amount of people are always going to be like, well, they're backing off of DACA. They're not fulfilling promises, and all it does is fuel the fire, against Trump from the right. And even if it's not true, there's they don't have any recourse. I mean, Trump came out immediately and said, no, that's not true. And it doesn't matter.
His tweet literally reads, "No deal was made last night on DACA. Massive border security would have been agreed to in exchange for consent, would be subject to vote. the wall, which is already under construction, is in the form of new renovation, and of old and existing fences and walls will continue to be built. That was pretty clear, and it came from his mouth.
But it doesn't matter because
the
like,
narrative already got out there.
Yeah, you're already like they don't have any reason to tell the truth. Why would they? You know, like I'm sure plenty of these reporters knew that was probably not how it went down, and they may have even thrown their own spin on whatever Schumer and the rest of the Democrats were telling them. But like, what are they going to be like? No, that's not really what we agreed. Like, no, they're not going to come out and ruin their own credibility. They're going to go full fledged. Oh yeah, Trump definitely said that he was going to give us full amnesty and to scrap the border wall.
Yeah
like that's
didn't
exactly
make
what
any
he said.
sense.
He completely agreed to that. Oh wait, what are you saying, Trump? Oh, you're reneging on your promises now, Trump? What are you talking about? It's like it's like when you're with your friend and you gotta like lie to their parents or something, and you're like yeah, like you promised to do that, right? You said you were gonna like cave on DACA and the border wall, didn't you? And then they have to look like the jerk here and like renege on that, and now Trump's in a bad position. I mean, it was probably a smart play on their part. It was just manipulative and scummy as all get out.
Yep.
But I mean, what else do you expect from these people?
Well, my first reaction I heard when they said no wall in agreement, I thought it was just Trump not talking about the wall because he knows he's not going to agree with that, agree on the wall with them. But then I thought, because I saw his base exploding on the internet, I was like, he didn't say that he was not going to build the wall. And then hours later, I was thinking, I'm like, this is probably, some people are going to say I'm putting on a tinfoil hat. This was a deliberate trick by the Democrats to divide his base and turn him on him. Or anybody in the middle that said, I'll just vote for Trump because I kind of like the wall, screw it, I don't like Hillary, we'll just try Trump. And then when they see him turning on something like that, they're like, F Trump, I'm not going to vote for him in 2020. I'm like, do you realize that the wall was like his number one, proposed, policy of his campaign?
If he fails to deliver that, he'd
lose in 2020.
There's no campaign figure that can save him. There's not even like they could run Hillary again and he still wouldn't win. Like she'd take it if he failed to deliver on the wall. If he had said, oh yeah, no, we're going to give an amnesty to all the DACA recipients and scrap the wall.
Yeah.
He would never have caved to something like that.
I know, it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. So people were on the right were being stupid.
That doesn't matter. The left is what the left is.
Yeah.
They're not right.
Oh really? I like the pun you did there. They're not right.
Yeah.
Come on, I gotta give them some praise, people. There was something else I was gonna mention about this. Oh yeah, I thought that it's interesting how he also then tweeted about the Dreamers. He says, does anybody want to really throw out good, educated, and accomplished young people who have jobs, some serving the military? Really? They have been in our country for many years, though no fault of their own, brought in by parents at young age, plus big border security. I thought two things there. One, when he's talking about border security, I wonder if he agreed with the Dems on border security so he could get money for the wall, but he just doesn't tell them. It's just border security. Well, and then he goes and he says to compromise with them, he'll only keep good Dreamers in the country. Any bad hombres, out.
That was something that I know a lot of people were upset about, and personally I didn't like the idea of, because it sets a bad precedent. No matter what you think of the people here, that maybe every single DACA recipient is an angel that is the best ever. But I mean, they're not. There's many DACA recipients who've done horrible things, committed disgusting crimes, and rapes, murders. They're not all great people, but I'm sure some of them are good people, to quote Trump, and some of them I assume are good people. But whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter because it's still a precedent. It's a bad precedent to set, and so I don't disagree with that. But I think that the Democrats might have ruined any chance of this now, because what they ended up doing, at least I hope this will manifest, they ended up just screwing any credibility on this that they had, because there were some people that were like, yeah, I guess we could deal with, as long as we get the border wall funding, we can definitely take the immigrants or take the DACA recipients, the dreamers. We'll. I mean, they're already here, and I guess that's a reasonable position, but I just don't like the precedent that is set. But as long as we get the wall funding, that's fine.
Yeah.
But then what happens? The Democrats overplay their hand or try and to screw Trump even harder or something by pulling that stuff about saying that he agreed to everything, excluding the wall. He
changed every policy.
Caved on the wall or something like that.
Yeah.
He just completely went against every single thing he'd ever run for. I think that now that Trump has seen that his base solidified so hard when that came out, whether he agreed to it or not, doesn't even matter. But they solidified so hard, and I know of protests that are being planned at DC if this doesn't change. For people that are not happy about this DACA thing, and especially if what the Democrats turns out to be true, which I highly doubt, as I've illustrated. That the wall is not going to get funded. There's going to be a lot of people, probably every single person that voted for him, that will not be happy about this.
I'd be depressed if the wall wasn't built.
Yeah, and so of course, what he sees this and he remembers, or maybe his maybe some staffer numbers guy figures out, oh crap, this is not going to go over well for our popularity if we don't solve this. We better figure it out. And so I think that we've actually, through sort of our popular voice and many people articulating their displeasure with the idea of this, that I think Trump's kind of hopefully will solidify back onto his campaign promises. And this is something that he does. He kind of
he tests
he throws up what do they call it, like weather balloons, and he sees which ones get shot down and which ones fly. I mean, the Democrats do this too, but they do it with stuff like pedophilia. You get HuffPo posting
Salon.
or Salon. That's right. Yeah,
same difference, honestly.
It's not a mental disorder or something. Well, it's not even.
Pedophiles are.
Whatever.
I'm not a monster. I'm a pedophile.
But you get what I'm saying. He's throwing up. He's seeing what is politically popular. He's feeling out his base, and I think his base responded pretty concisely that they're not going to be happy with this. There was some wishy-washiness when it was trade dreamers for border wall, but. If there's no border wall, then there's no deal, and there's no support behind any of it. So I think that they probably figured that out, and hopefully they will solidify. Hopefully the administration will solidify around the original plan, the campaign promises.
My personal view has always been wall has to be built, but dreamers, I've always been a little. Sort of. Don't die too, Vince. We can't have two dead people on air.
I'm trying the cough button.
Oh, yeah. It worked. My stance always been walls absolute, and Trump knows that. Dreamers, I've always been a little conflicted on. I used to be deport them all. Then I kind of moved.
Deport them all.
Yes. That'd be a good bumper sticker. Then my
I think it is.
Yeah, probably. My other stance my stance then morphed into, well, if we have to compromise, because we're going to have to, I'd compromise on dreamers. Okay. Then I kind of shifted to, you got to be careful with that, because some are good, some are bad. I would say you have to be reasonable to I think what Trump's ended up going to doing is he's going to let Congress make a proper bill, something unheard of today, and then it goes to the executive branch, to the president's desk, something not heard of today, and he's going to actually sign off on it.
I don't think that's going to happen, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
I don't know.
That might even be really, good for the Trump administration. That would probably, for a lot of people, be a win. Like I've already articulated, I am still in camp, build the wall, deport them all.
I wish we could deport them all, but it's not realistic.
I don't understand why all the leftists bring up just to counter that point, all the Eastern Europeans that are here illegally, send them back too. I don't care.
Illegal is not a race.
If they've come here illegally, they probably aren't. They're probably criminals, and they're probably
well, they all are criminals.
If they don't have legal means of staying here, and if they don't have legitimate enough legitimacy in their home country or whatever that they can get here the right way through visas and such, then yeah, send them back. Like I don't. It's like I don't care where they came from. If they're not citizens, they're not here lawfully. If they're not abiding by our laws, then I don't want them in my country.
You have to go back, as
Yeah,
they
like,
say.
and but regardless, back on track here. Some people might see it as a win to get that DACA legislation through, but I just don't see it happening because, like I said before, there's a certain wing of the Democratic Party that is not going to be happy with absolutely anything that
That's true.
A, Donald Trump signs, or B, any of the Republican caucus. Like, because if they get a single Republican, then they're going to be like, well, we should actually be so much further, to the left on this.
Left.
We should be like funding the importation of the of people from third world countries. Just sponsored immigration. Like, I mean, I think Congress is too divided. They have too much, they have too much desire not to let anything be a win for the Trump administration. And like I was earlier describing, that would probably be seen as a win. That they won't let anything like that happen.
That's
so
true.
even if it means that the Dreamers eventually get kicked out, I think the Democrats will do that in order, just specifically in spite of the administration.
Right.
I would like to think that Trump wouldn't sign anything that the furthest left people in Congress would sign, because I don't know how that would get through, because Democrats are a minority basically everywhere. But regardless, like I said, I for several reasons I don't think it's going to get through. I don't think the Republican, that would be suicide. For the vast majority of the Republican people in Congress right now, that would be suicide. They will never get reelected. Even the senators that aren't up for reelection in 2018, that would be political suicide for them, especially the ones in the safe red districts. They'll be primaried easily. Because people, they want a safe country. They want a country where the rule of law is respected, and they don't want anyone to be setting that precedent. And this effectively just legally instantiates the precedent of retroactive, I mean, okay, so put a theoretical circumstance to describe this situation a little better. Let's say you steal a car, but then stealing that car becomes legal. Right. You still broke the law when you stole the car. Right. This would be like retroactive legality, which is not a good precedent ever, because that basically says, okay, well, if there's a moderate amount of political support for something, I can probably get away with breaking law, because hopefully I can just evade legal services before the law gets changed. You know what I'm saying?
There's one little hole in that analogy, that the Dreamers were brought here by their parents in some cases when they were really young. That's not all of them.
I understand that, but
that's a little trick about this.
The point is still remains the same, because also
it's the principle, I think you're saying.
I understand that the Dreamers didn't break the law, but somebody broke the law. Somebody broke the law, and it was in their interest to bring their children over here, or to send their children over here, and have them be have them basically, I guess, get a better life, but they're still breaking the law. They're degrading the country by simply not respecting our own immigration law, because maybe they're great people, maybe the person behind them is great people, and maybe the person behind them is a great person, but somebody down the line is not going to be a great person, and they're going to be allowed in basically by the precedent that's been set by them, and they're going to have made the country worse, not even necessarily for their own being in there, but specifically because of the precedent that they've set by coming here and expecting legal treatment, and expecting to be catered to.
That's why it's key that regardless of what's happening now, Trump has ended DACA. That's what people keep forgetting. They're like, he betrayed his base. He betrayed. I'm like, no, he still ended DACA. He still ended it. So now it's just a matter of, what do we do with the people here? Because I'm going to be honest, that is a little tricky situation. The principles seem very straightforward, but it's a little tricky in practice. So
I mean, I personally, I have no problem with these people even being given, like put to the front of the line of like immigration, as long as they go back to their home country first.
That's a good
They
idea.
go back to their home country first, and put them at the front of the line, but make them go through the proper legal channels.
I think that'd be a good way to do it.
Like, I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want like. I mean, if they were born in the United States not born, if they were immigrated to the United States illegally, but as children, then they probably speak English well. They'll probably,
which is good.
Yeah, and they probably got assets maybe and job opportunities and education, and because they were dreamers. That's like part of the dreamer thing is they were gonna get education, whatever. They'll probably be fine even under the RAISE Act. As
I love the RAISE Act.
That shores up immigration standards, but like they could probably pass those, and I have no problem. I think that it would be best for everybody, including them, if they get sent back and get put to the front of the line and go through with the new RAISE Act legislation. That is best case scenario for me.
My other thought, I'll say this real quickly, is that the other option I thought is instead of sending them back, you could have them do like community service or something to give that little extra commitment to show that they possibly care. I mean, it's not as
that'll
good.
never fly because that's like basically
it's like treating like a criminal.
Racist. Like I'm not saying
brown people.
I obviously don't think it's racist. I think it's probably like it's not a terrible idea, but politically that's too touchy. Like oh, these people were brought here against their will, and now you're gonna make them work against their will. What I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
Like they're basically slaves to the state. That's not fair. We ended slavery. I'm saying I understand how ridiculous it sounds, but that's going to be the narrative, if they try to. I mean, that's basically what happened in, I think it was Mississippi and a couple other states tried to have that as like their welfare program. They had tried to
really?
make you had to have certain hours of community service to get your welfare.
That's great.
And it was like everybody was up in arms. This is like Jim Crow all over again.
Oh
this
my God!
This is basically sharecropping, but run by the government.
Okay, that was depressing.
I mean,
I don't like, what was it, Mississippi you said?
Yeah, I think it was Mississippi.
Come on, make Mississippi great again. Martin Shkreli. He's back in the headlines again. The internet troll, the farmer bro. I don't know why they gave him that nickname, but he put out a Facebook post not too long ago where he said, and I quote, "The Clinton Foundation is willing to kill to protect its secrets." So on HRC, Hillary Rodham Clinton's book tour, tried to grab a hair from her. "I must confirm the sequences I have. Will pay $5,000 per hair obtained from Hillary Clinton. Payment after the sequence matches. Good luck, patrollers." If you did realize, that was a joke. It was funny. It was a joke. And he had a picture of him holding up like her emails too, and like this Bitcoin miner. It wasn't even like an actual like thumb drive or anything. It was just some like Bitcoin miner. And because of that Facebook post, he got sent to jail for saying that.
It's amazing that like he managed to get away with like what did he do? Like he did some like sleazy thing with like pharmaceuticals, right?
He raised the drug prices.
Oh,
now
yeah.
he claims, to get both sides, he claims that it was only a drug that rich people got, so he wasn't really doing anything that bad. But then there are people
it
claim,
doesn't matter. If he owns the thing, he like I'm a pretty free market guy. He has the right to do that, and if it becomes expensive enough, then somebody else will find an alternative to it and sell it for cheaper. But like.
He got sent to jail. I don't know for how long.
I mean, is that even like how is that? It's not like he specifically said to assault them.
Yeah.
Like if it was like one of her teeth or something like that, then that might be a little bit different. You can't really do that without violating her personal space. What if it just falls off her head?
Exactly.
She's old. She's probably balding.
she's
you probably just go to like
day.
a chair.
Yeah.
Like after the event's done, you're probably like a janitor and sift through and get like a couple hairs and odds are one of them is going to be hers and you see which one matches. That's I don't understand. Like I mean, I guess maybe the problem was because that created like an incentive or something to like shave her whole head, which I guess would probably be like bodily You know what would have been hilarious if like the Hillary, like if the Clinton Foundation like trolled them by like just shaving her head and sending it all to him, and he'd have to like count through that and like send her like billions of dollars or something.
It wouldn't
Like,
be that funny though.
that would have been a good troll. But of course,
would be.
you know,
You
the
gotta
left
troll the troll.
doesn't know how to. The
They
left
don't.
is not funny.
They
So
don't.
so they don't ever think of things like this. But we do because
Yeah,
we are.
we're good at this.
We're right.
Yeah.
You
Keep saying that.
But yes, but I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I
It
don't
is.
think anything more needs to be said about that.
No.
Uh,
The last thing I will say is that he was talking about this on like a interview with somebody, and he said the bigger part that made this like clearly a joke is that you can't get DNA from a hair. You know, they show that in TV
I was
shows.
gonna say that.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that because you see it on the
only way
shows.
you can get it is from the follicle, right? That has
I
like
think so.
human cell, like your cells. You can't get it from hair.
Yeah, and that's what he said was such a joke about. He's like, you can't get DNA from her hair.
He's a
like,
like he owns
he
a
knows a
pharmaceutical company. Like he's not stupid.
He's very smart.
Like,
Have you watched his live streams?
No, I haven't.
This guy knows math, chemistry, science, financing,
Okay.
econ, politics, all
Well, I mean,
throughout
yeah,
it.
he like if you run a pharmaceutical company, I would imagine you need to know all of these things.
That's true, yeah.
Anyway,
But
it
he's
doesn't matter
very
how much of a
smart.
sleazebag he is. That was clearly
Yeah.
a joke, and that is like hilarious.
It's hilarious.
I
the-
feel bad for him, honestly, because that's like
Yeah.
just, he's getting sent to jail over that. I mean, I'm sure he'll win the case.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't look into it that well.
I mean,
know.
like I can't imagine they had a trial already, right?
it just said he was sent to
He was
jail.
arrested. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay. Well,
He might
whatever.
have gone off,
Further
yeah.
updates to be posted.
to be
Stay tuned.
continued.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Benji
Benji, yes, this was a big thing. Ben Shapiro came to Berkeley. and-
terrorized Berkeley.
no.
Triggered the living daylights out of those fine folk.
I kid you not, the headline on multiple news articles and on Twitter was this: Berkeley braces for conservative speaker. Oh my God, we're bracing for Ben Shapiro. Oh, so scary. You know,
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, like I mean,
they're
not-
bracing for Antifa.
Yeah, exactly. That's the truth of it, but that is the serious truth. Like I mean, look what happened when Milo went there.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like if I were the Berkeley staff and you know the Berkeley community as a whole, I would also fear the event, not necessarily Ben Shapiro because he's just like a short little Jewish fellow.
Midget.
Yeah, like he's not very scary to me.
Milo calls him
but
an
he has
imp.
dangerous opinions, so apparently that's what's to be feared.
I know,
And
so
it's you know,
terrifying.
I mean, since I mean, I guess if you take the leftist logic, words are in fact actions,
Action.
as we've learned from that
Yes.
event that we went to a couple weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Words are actually actions, which means that responding to them with violence is basically self-defense.
And they're fighting
So if you-
fascism, so they have good motivations.
Yeah. the fascist Jew.
Yeah.
Like this.
Let
is,
that
this is Ben
sink in.
Shapiro. Yeah, the neo-Nazi, the Jewish neo-Nazi. Anyway,
There are lots of those.
yeah. So Ben Shapiro goes and basically has a great time and a very, I am sure, a very effective dialogue with all of those well-enlightened people of the other side. Those just true scholars that
Oh,
just
yeah.
simply understand the world differently. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with brainwashing done by ideological professors with their own nefarious motives and Oedipal complexes. They are fine folks that I'm sure very civilly and intelligently refuted and communicated their points. No, that is not what happened. So far as I
Sadly.
can tell, I watched a few little clips and
It
seemed like it was
wasn't-
a bunch of morons trying to gotcha Ben Shapiro, which doesn't work very well.
Yeah, and there was they had Lauren Southern was doing a quick little live stream, and they had 3 helicopters over Berkeley. This is how
were they throwing
prepared.
commies out of them?
No,
Aw.
sadly.
I thought that was to pick up the Antifa and throw them. Like Pinochet.
no, this is
No,
they
JFK. of the helicopter?
No, they
Oh.
were actually the police. Actually, after Milo, were like, "Yeah, this is for real people. Like, we need to beef up security, and we actually need to
To
defend
me,
freedom of
honestly,
speech."
I really do want to know why there were helicopters. Like what were they gonna do? Were they gonna like somebody's like lights a fire? They're gonna like swoop down and like arrest them? Like what? They're just gonna land in the middle of the street? Like what did they think the helicopters were going to do?
Well, they had like I heard they had like rocket launchers and they had like machine guns on the front. So
Yeah.
all the Antifa.
Yeah.
Not saying we're promoting violence, people. Don't say that. We don't.
mean-
They do. But you know, yeah.
I wouldn't really be upset if some Antifa got dropped out of helicopters.
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
mean,
They're
with
scum.
Where's the loss? Where's
There
the
is
loss
none.
to society? I don't see one.
Antifa are scum. They don't like you. They don't care, and they honestly
No, they
just
want
want to beat you up because you
No,
have
they-
an opinion they don't like. And what's weird is when you start filming them do it, they freak out. They're like, "Oh, get the cameras out here."
And my favorite thing ever is like leftists are just like they are so bought into the fact that like Antifa are, you know, like just Antifa are what they are, that they don't understand that they're like anarchist communists, and they're
Right.
like they're anarchist communists. Most of them will tell, well, almost all of them, if they're able to speak English, will tell you this, and you know that they're anarchist communists fighting against the white cis patriarchal
Are they?
man. And they're anarcho-communists. They're anarchists that want communal society. And I saw this one little meme that was just like a picture of some other anarchists, like green anarchists and anarcho-syndicalists or whatever they
Yeah.
are, and they're all like, the joke was that they're all up in their own heads with their own philosophical ideas, and then these anarcho-communists, these the Antifa with the red and black like Antifa flag is just like back there going, well, I just want free healthcare. It's like. Free healthcare provided by the government.
Yeah, the state.
You anarcho-communists want free healthcare
Yes.
provided by a government which gets its revenue from rich capitalists.
Wow. Logic.
Okay. No, I mean, once again, it's
They're
holding
not
them,
bright.
holding them to any standards, let alone their own standards, is
The last two things I'm going to say about this is Ben Shapiro tweeted out that free speech isn't free. It costs over $600,000 thanks to Antifa. And there were protesters there that were on video chanting, "Speech is violent. We will not be silent." Really?
okay. So does that mean
Speech
they're
is
threatening
violent.
violence? I mean,
Yeah,
if
'cause
you
they're
follow the logic,
speaking.
if speech is violence, so speaking is violence, and they won't be silent, which means that they're going to just continue being violent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So this is an admission. This
violent.
is a threat of violence for what I am imagining is still very political goal here, and yet they're still not a terror group.
Yeah. Pretty.
They need to be a federally established terror group.
I
That just needs to
100%
happen.
agree.
That is the only way this can be solved.
If Daddy is listening to us right now, Daddy, Donald J. Trump, please make Antifa a terrorist organization. It would make
It's
everybody
not like
happy.
anybody on the left is gonna think any worse of you for
Yeah,
doing
you're
this.
not going to win
Yeah,
points.
they're not gonna what are they gonna call you, a fascist now? Like, I mean, it's not like they're already not calling you a fascist. So
Yeah.
like, what are you saving by not continuing, just serving your own political interests by calling
Yep.
terrorists?
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.